Philip, welcome to Canada.
Thank you, Michael.
So you've been in the lead of the European Public Real Estate Association since 2007, and you've really witnessed the emergence and growth of REITs on the European continent. What's happening lately in the European community with respect to REITs?
I'm really proud of what has happened in the last 2 years. You remember 2007, which of course is a very interesting moment to start at an organization like EPRA. 2 years ago, I think we were at the low when you talk about our market share in the EPRA FTSE Europe index, around 12%. At the moment we are sitting at around 16%, so that's a phenomenal comeback. Why did it happen? I think there's a lot of demand from investors. We've seen this year a record IPO level of 6.5 billion. That's our biggest number in history in a single year. The year isn't over yet. Why is it? I think there's a lot of interest from the investment community in Europe, notwithstanding the geopolitical issues and the deflation. Still, there is a lot of interest in Europe, so we must do something good compared to other regions. And the second one is that institutional investors at this low interest rate environment are interested in real assets, listed real estate being one of them. So we've shown an excellent track record in our total returns and a stable income producing asset class for the institutional investment community.
So market acceptance from the institutional community, obviously good. How about from the retail community or other sources of capital?
Retail does not play such a big role in Europe. It's mainly the institutional investment community at the global level. And we, from EPRA, we've been pushing very hard in countries that were hit by the crisis and that had relatively weak REIT regimes. Think particularly Ireland and Spain. And we pushed together with our members for up-to-date REIT legislation. The first one to pass it was Ireland, and we saw exactly now a year ago the first Irish REITs, a big success, and the second was Spain. They were a bit later, half a year later, and the beginning of this year we've seen the first IPOs in Spain, and again it's a very good success. At the moment we are still waiting for improved REIT legislation in Italy. If I'm well informed, last Friday a bill was passed. We don't know the exact details yet. The market in Italy is different. It hasn't tanked as much as Ireland and Spain, but there's a lot of issues. There's a very high government debt, so there will be it's good opportunity that high quality assets will come to the market in the form of IPOs.
Outside of Italy, what is your key policy agenda item or policy agenda items, plural, for EPRA in Europe right now? What are you working on?
Investor outreach is one of our most important activities, and we do that in Europe, obviously, which is our home turf. Continental Europe, from our office in Brussels. We opened an office in London, which is important because there's such a big institutional pension fund market. Then in North America, particularly in the US, we work very closely with REIT. We have combined investor outreach activities. We go with them to major investors in New York and on the West Coast. They come to Europe and visit the major capitals of Europe together with us. And then we have an office in Asia, in Hong Kong, which we use to educate and to talk with investors in the Asian region. China, Hong Kong, Korea, Singapore, obviously Japan and Hong Kong. So it's one of our main activities. Combined, at the back of that, we have an active research program, and at the moment we particularly pay attention to the enhancement of results if you probably use a blended portfolio. And finally, there's still a huge potential in Europe's main market economically, which is Germany. And Germany has not a listed real estate investment culture. They very much work with open-ended funds, but we spent a lot of time. I'm there once a month in Berlin talking with legislators, people who take the decisions at the political level, to educate them about the advantages of a listed market. So that's basically the three-pronged attack for us.
It's interesting. you and I talked about the proliferation of funds and ETFs around the world now, enabling anyone to invest in Europe. What's the opportunity set in Europe now when you go and talk to institutional investors in Hong Kong and they ask you why Europe? What's the response?
I think the community in Asia needs to export their capital. I mean, we don't see that only in China, where the decision was taken 2 years ago now by the regulators to allow Chinese insurance companies, number one, to invest in real estate, and then number two, to invest overseas in 45 countries. I think that our game, and I think that's the whole thing, why it is important that we have meetings like we had today with the REIT group, and why we have contact with you, it is becoming a global game. And investors want to have global exposure, whether it is direct or whether it is in listed form of listed real estate. And that's why, you know, I think we need to be in all the important places in the world. And like I said, you know, talk about the gospel of REIT, what REITs can do for investment portfolios.
And I think that's a message that Canadians have been hearing. We do have an Irish sponsored REIT now that came out of Canada, and we have, I think, a couple in Germany.
You have a very important player in Germany.
Yes, a very important player in Germany, and there's some appetite in Canada now to do more overseas work. So Philip, I wanted to thank you on behalf of the Canadian real estate community for coming over and sharing your insights with us, and we look forward to seeing you on the mainland.
Thank you, Michael. It's always a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.